We're learning the Sikha on Teitzei, the first Sikha in Chelek Chav Daled, on page 132. The shir today is being learned Lila Nishmas Rabbi Yosef ben Yamin ben Rabbi Menashe Koltman. B'kasher mit dem Pasuk beParsha Seinu, in connection with the pasuk in this week's parsha where it says V'chiyeh be'ish chet mishpat mavis, if there'll be a man that did an aveda and his punishment is death, v'humas, and he was put to death, v'talisai se'alates, you should be hung on a tree. That's the simple translation of the pasuk. But is Yudua in dem hesped was the Arizal at Maske gewen dem Ramak. So it's known that there was a hesped that the Arizal said when the Ramak, one of the great Mukabalim of his times, passed away. Hat geteicht dem pasuk. So he translated this pasuk differently, and he explained it regarding the Ramak himself, the greatness of the Ramak, as follows: V'chiyeh be'ish chet mishpat mavis. If there'll be an individual that there's a chet mishpat mavis. What do these words mean in this interpretation? Pirish sheyechsar chet meloshen chesarin tam mishpat mavis. That there will be lacking, and the word chet could also mean lacking, any reason to explain why he passed away. There's nothing negative he did, so why does he pass away? You should say the only reason he passed away is because of the eitz, which is machmas eitz hadas, because of the decree after Adam ate from the eitz hadas, shagaza misa, and this brought the decree of death into the world. B'shvil kach meis. That's the only reason he passed away. But he, on his own, because of what he did in his life, did not deserve this death at all. That's the taich that the Arizal said regarding the greatness of the Ramak when he passed away. Superficially, reading here this interpretation of the Arizal in this pasuk, it would seem as the teichel from the drasha is with their ma'im chazal daled meisu bet yishol nachash. This is very similar to a Gemara that tells us that there are 4 individuals that passed away only because of the advice or the counsel that the Nachash, the snake, gave Chava to eat from the tree, which brought about Chet Eitzadas, which led to the decree of death in the world. So just like these 4 individuals, the Gemara speaks about, had no Aveda, and they passed away only because of the chet that came through the snake. The chet of eating from the eitzadas, which was through the counsel of the snake, is nigzera gzeres misa al kol toldoisav shadam erishin, and that brought the decree of death on all descendants of Adam erishin and all of mankind. Al derech zeh is given beim Ramak. Similar, the Ramak is also in the same category. Azayim v'humas is given nor tzilib and eitzadas. The fact that he passes away is not anything that he causes, but it's just as a result of this decree that's brought through Chet Eitzadas in the world. But however, we can say, as is nit nor was der Arizal darshent dem pasuk of dem inyan meisu bet yishol nachash. Not only is the Arizal taking here this pasuk of Ahumas v'salisai se'alates and darshaning it that you can see in this pasuk a similar thing, like what the Gemara says regarding those 4 individuals that passed away only because of the counsel of the snake, the Chet Eitzadas, nor the mid zokter und mechadish anayim geder. The fact that the Arizal doesn't just say that the Ramak belongs in that category that the Gemara spoke about, but he's expounding over here this pasuk, and he's saying it in a different way, means that the Arizal was saying something on a completely new level, that the Ramak goes into a whole different category when it comes to him passing away. So the Rabbi here in the Sikha will explain very geschmack what's the difference between the Lashon of the Gemara, Et Yeshol Nachash, and the Lashon that the Arizal uses regarding the Ramak, that it's eitz, that it's because of the Chet of Eitzadas. So Bahaktim, so we can explain this by first introducing the Chelek zwischen Teitzei and Yanamana. Look at the difference in the language that's used over here in these 2 points. The Gemara sagt, Meisu be'et Yeshol Nachash, that these 4 individuals passed away because of the counsel of the snake. The Arizal teiched and learned the pasuk. The Arizal interprets and learns from the pasuk. V'tolisa yisei al eitz. That's what's causing this is the eitz, the tree. Was das is a chiluk nit nur in lashon. This is not only a difference in language, using various details of the aveda of Chet Eitzadas, nor in teichen. There's a difference here also in the content of what's being said. Et yoi atzasoi shel nachash, the lashon of the Gemara, the counsel of the snake, was hat geetzet Chave zu essen von dem Eitzadas. He's the one that advised Chave to go ahead and eat from the Eitzadas. Retzich wegen Ra. So that lashon is expressing the actual evil that took place. Eitze l'maisa chet. It's counsel to go ahead and do an act which is the sin itself. On the other hand, v'tolisa oisei al eitz, the expression in the Arizal's hesped here, using this pasuk of that it's the cause the tree, was the Arizal stellt sich auf ihm, red wegen der Sach durch welche Adam is begangen dem Chet. It's not talking about the act of the Aveda, but it's talking about the object, the tree, with which the Aveda was done with. Aber der Eitz Gufe is nicht an Inisha Chesar. But the actual tree itself, not being an act of an Aveda, just a tree, is not something which has anything lacking in it. On the contrary, in the simple pshat of the pasuk, Kipirish Rashi, as Rashi says, is es gewen an eitz teina. This was a fig tree. This is one of the species that's part of the Shiva Saminim that Eretz Yisrael is praised with. On sein Namen is Eitzadas, and the Torah refers to it as the tree of knowledge, as es tutoy van inyan das. This is a tree that brings about a das, a level of knowledge. And even eating from it, which can bring, so this is in existence, the tree causes a sin, achila fun eitzadas, if you eat from it, is al pi drashas razal v'chulum, according to what Chazal darshan about this, is given no b'meshach fun di drei shah bis Shabbos. This was an Isser that was just for those 3 hours when Adam Rishon was created until Shabbos, 3 hours that this whole entire Isser applied. Otherwise, the tree, in essence, is a positive existence. It's a tree, it's a te'ena, it's das. There was an Isser to eat from it. Das heißt, what this means in different words is, the Arizal read wegen sibbe dis sibbe cholo. The Arizal is only talking about a cause that brings the Aveda. There's an existence of a tree. Okay, that's the cause number one. And then there's the cause of the snake. And then the snake persuades Chava, and then she goes ahead and eats it. Noch a friedige unweitige sibbe. Speaking about that, Arizal here is mentioning the cause of the passing away of the Ramak. So he's pointing out a earlier and further away cause. Nicht wegen dem Chet Eitzadas, but he's not actually speaking about the act of the Aveda, was hat gebracht Gzeres Misse bepoil, which brought the actual decree of death. Nor wegen dem Eitz, rather he's saying that it comes from the tree, was hat gegeben die Efshoriyis of Inyan Misse. The tree that made it possible through different causes that now death should come into the world. Oy mevet von im essen, when it is toivera, if it'll be eaten from in that time period, those 3 hours when there's a mixture of toivera, is moist thomas. Then it'll bring about the decree of death. So there's a difference over here in what we're focusing on. Is it an actual Aveda, the direct cause of death, which is what the Gemara is speaking about, or the Arizal is speaking about something that's much further back in the cause of this decree of death? Or to say this in a different way, and according to what it says in the Medrash. When the Eibishter creates the world, it was in plan that there should be death in the world. So from the very first day, the Eibishter creates the Malach HaMavis, the angel of death. Nor because of Neira, the awesome one, the Eibishter is Alila al Bnei Yadam. So this is sort of a scheme that things come through the actions of what a person does in this world. Is ausgestellt geworden azai, so it is brought out in such a way as the Gzeres Misse bepoil zal kommen durch an Adam. The actual decree of death in the world will come about through Adam's actions. But it was really all in the planning of the Eibishter from the beginning. Und der Vater hat der Eibishter gestellt Adam vor dem größten Sein von Eitzadas. And therefore, in order to bring about this plan of Misa in the world, the Eibishter places Adam and Isha in this very big test with the Eitzadas durch Einpflanzen in Gan Eden, by planting in Gan Eden, kol Eitz nechmod lamare v'toiv lamachol, this very, very enticing and beautiful and geschmacke tree. Oich dem Eitzadas, which includes this Eitzadas v'chulu, was durch dem Alim is a reis de Gzeire bepoil. And through this, the Gzeire of Misa that the Eibishter had in plan came out bepoil by Adam and Isha eating from it. So meaning when the Ramak is talking about this tree which the Eibishter plants here, he's not talking about the act of the Aveda that the Nachash was speaking about, but just about the tree itself. This is actually really referring back to the fact that the Mise of the Ramak is related to the Eibishter's plan from the beginning of the Bria. Not even related to the actual Aveda, but the tree that was planted by the Eibishter there. Das ist der Chelek zwischen die zwei Inyanim, Meisu bet Yeshol Nachash und Talisa Yisraelites. So this is the difference between the Gemara saying that there are 4 individuals that died with the Misa that came about through the counsel of the snake, or that the cause is the Eitz Adas. The Ringe von Meisu bet Yeshol Nachash was wird gesagt in Gemara, when the Gemara speaks about these great tzaddikim that died with the Et Yeshol Nachash, which is Nigla the Teire, in the revealed aspect of Teire. It's speaking about how death comes into the world in actuality, in a revealed sense, that the direct cause is the actual counsel of the snake, which was about the act of the Aveda. That's what brings the actual Gzeira B'Poyel of Misa into the world. That's why the Gemara mentions this lashon, focusing on the direct cause. But the expression that Misa, that death in the world, or in this case by the Ramaki, passes away as a result, it's caused by the AIDS. So the Arizal reveals a deeper source from where death comes from, and this was seen clearly by the passing away of the Ramak. Both the Ramak and the Arizal, they were great Mukabalim that revealed the secrets of Teira, Pnimiyas HaTeira, the inner dimension of Teira in the world. So therefore this Vart of the Arizal is expressing the source of death in the world in a deeper sense. Was mitzat Pnimiyas Inyan is this verbunden nit mit Et Yeshol Nachash on a deeper level. It's not a result of the direct and open cause that we see of the counsel of the snake, nor mit an eitz. It's the tree, which is the Nesayim von Eitzadas, the test of this tree being planted here was the Eibishter, hat zugestellt Adamin, which the Eibishter brings in close proximity to Adam Erisha because of the Eibishter's desire and plan in creation. So really, ultimately, like everything else in creation, which is revealed in Kabbalah, that ultimately everything is rooted in the Eibishter's plan in creation. And therefore the Arizal here expresses this point regarding the passing away of the Ramak. On a deeper level we can say, Et Yeshol Nachash und V'Talisa Yisraelites verbunden mit zwei Suge Tzadikim. It's connected to 2 different levels, 2 different categories of Tzadikim. So the previous Hezbollah of the Rebbe was that it's just focusing on different aspects of the cause of death in the world, the more revealed and direct cause, that's Nigla and Gemara, or the more deeper and esoteric, or the deeper dimension of Teira that goes back to the root of things, which is the plan of the Eibishter. But we can actually say that these 2 expressions is relating to different levels of tzaddikim. Those that pass away because of Et Yeshol Nachash means that their passing away is related to the actual chet of Eitzadas. However, there is a category of tzaddikim, this chet, which comes from the counsel of the snake, cannot touch them. Und der Inyan HaMisa bei Zeh is Shayach v'Talisa Yisai. The fact that they passed away is only possible, nor mitzad al eitz. It's only because of the eitz, as the Rebbe will explain. He has bought in them, so the explanation for this is as follows. The Alter Rebbe is Mevayer in Teirah. The Alter Rebbe explains in Teirah the meaning of the Gemara as Meisu be'et Yeshol Nachash. When the Gemara says that there are these individuals that passed away with the counsel of the snake, is Valdi 4 tzaddikim, these 4 tzaddikim were so great. Afal pi es zene gewend tzaddikim gemurim. They were absolute tzaddikim. Isn't ze noch geblieben? However, the fact that he passed away, it's because there's something that remained here. Eze shemetz mizuamas hanochash. There was some impurity of the impurity that the snake brought into the world through the Aveda, shlo yachlo la'asirai mikol v'kol, which they could not completely remove from themselves. Und wie das Mevayer in Avedas Adam, the Alter Rebbe explains this, what this means in a person's Aveda. What exactly is this impurity that is so ingrained in the nature of a person as a result of Chet Eitzadas that they can't remove? Azur masanochash is the reading from Gasas Haruach Shenase B'Teva Adam. What this refers to, this impurity refers to the ingrained nature of a person that he feels himself, the ego that a person feels, the I that I exist, and he feels himself, which means Sheroya Satzmai. Person sees himself, the self-awareness he has about himself. He recognizes his things that he's lacking in, his shortcomings. He has a certain awareness of what are the things that he likes and enjoys, and so on. The very sense, the basic sense that a person feels himself, that it is an I, that's a result of Chet Eitzadas. That's this shemetz of Zuama, which became ingrained, and it's a basic human nature that a person feels himself before he feels anyone else, or before he feels any connection to the Eibishter. It's me. I exist. That's the basic feeling of the existence of the Teva of a Nefesh Bahamas. Das heißt, in other words, et yeshal nachash meint. This impurity that comes from this Aveda, from et yeshal nachash, means as the Chet Eitzadas hat aufgetan a chesaron in dem tzaddik, that this individual that passes away because of this et yeshal nachash, there is some level of a chesaron, something lacking here in this tzaddik, that he couldn't remove this subtle impurity, and therefore that's the cause for their passing away. Aber dem chesaron hat geirem gewen nit der tzaddik atzmech chas v'shalom. What causes this negativity in them that brings the misa is not what the tzaddik caused by his own doing. No, the nachash was hat gebracht zuama beilam. It's the snake that causes this. The snake brought this zuama, this impurity that's ingrained in the nature of every human being. It's so ingrained that the tzaddik couldn't remove it, but he didn't bring it. It became ingrained like part of the nature of the person. Und das ist der Yisrael from V'talisa Oisi al Eitz legabe Meisash Bet Yishal Nachash. With this we understand that the hesped of the Arizal, that V'talisa Oisi al Eitz, that a tzaddik passes away just because of Eitz, and he doesn't mention Et Yishal Nachash, is a deeper point. And the reason is as follows. The Pegam von Achet can only nor the Chetzeinis von a Yid. Any blemish of any Aveda could only touch and affect the external aspect of a Yid. But the Pnimius von a Yid, the Pnimius, the innermost essence of the Neshama of a Yid, bleibt allemal ganz, remains always whole and pure. As the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, Gam b'shas achet hoisebam nitay. Even at the time when he's sinning, the Neshama remains faithful to Hashem. Befrat mitzat pnimius an Neshama, was is milchatchila hecha von dem ganzen inyan achet, especially when it comes to the innermost essence of the Neshama, which is totally removed from the whole concept of sinning. So if this is true regarding a chet, so the same applies to Chet Eitzadas. The fun is verstandig bin gegeben dem Zuma Masanoch, Shaydei Chet Eitzadas. From this we can understand. When it comes to the impurity of the snake that came through Chet Eitzadas, as the Zuma von Nachash hat not angerührt die Chetzeinis von Yidden. So yes, it brought an impurity into the world, but in what element, in what aspect of the existence of a Yid? Only an external aspect of his neshama. Aber nicht chas v'shalom the pnimis von a Yid. But this impurity does not in any way become ingrained or affect the innermost essence of a Yid, his neshama. God forbid. On the far. So therefore, b'shas, the pnimis and neshama von a Yid is by a meir begiluk. If that pnimis of a Yid, where the et yishal nachash does not touch, is totally revealed, to the extent that this becomes his whole being, even externally, is by him the shayach derim from Meitzah Bet Yishal Nachash. So by such an individual, it's impossible to say that he passed away with the counsel of the snake, that there's this eye, this impurity that the person experiences or can't shake off from himself. It's ingrained in him. No. If his pnimius is totally revealed, so that becomes his entire existence within and without. This is what Arizal was saying about the Ramak. You see that there's lacking any explanation for him passing away because there's no Ra here. So what this means when Arizal is saying this, when he says that there's no Ra at all, as the mit meint sein euch dem Tam mishpat maves von etye zuama that there's no explanation for him passing away, including not the et yishal nachash. Even that impurity that's ingrained in nature, in the person, that comes from the nachash, even that is not here in this individual because his pnimius haneshama is so revealed that it takes over the whole person. In such a case, is v'talisa oisi al eitz. So he passes away because of eitz. Now, what does that mean? As das was by imis verander in Yiramisa. So the fact that such an individual passes away is as belois mitzadem was neira alila al bnei yadam. So again, so by such an individual is v'talisa oisel eitz, the fact that this individual passes away, it's completely only because of eitz. What does that mean? As das was by im is faran der inyan misa. The fact that by this individual there is a possibility for him to die is this blois mitzadem was neira lila b'nei yadam. It's completely because of, this is the plan that the Eibishter has, and this is the desire of the Eibishter. This is a kavanah and the bria mulmaila. And it just came through the actions of people, the action of Adam Rishon, but it's the plan of the Eibishter. It was that Eibishter had gemacht al yidei eitz adas derina misa ba'olam. The Eibishter has a reason and a plan why there is misa in the world, but it has nothing to do with any vestige of evil that is in the person in any way, shape, or form. That's what Arizal was saying about an individual like the Ramak, which was on such a level that his Pnimius and Neshama was completely begoli. In the Ha'ara, the Rebbe adds, in Ha'ara 28, the Rebbe adds an important point that the whole entire content of the Misa in this case is totally different. In the case of Et Yishol Nachash, there's a negative aspect to this Misa, because it's a result of this impurity. But by this tzaddik on this level, like the Ramak, so over here, he's completely permeated with Pnimius and Neshama, so even the inyan of Misa Ba'ilam is a positive thing, which is part of the Eibishter's plan to elevate the tzaddik to a higher level. But there's no negative aspect to the Misa at all. Continue inside the Sikha. With this we understand why this hesped of the Arizal wasn't just some kind of a random praise that the Arizal chose to say about the Ramak, but it's actually something which is very apropos both for the Ramak and the Arizal. Who were they? They were the great Mukabalim that revealed the secrets of Torah. When one reveals the secrets, the inner dimension of Torah is verbunden mit Gilui von Sassim de Nishmasa. This is related to revealing the secrets, the hidden aspects, the depths of the Neshama of a Yid. Which is higher and deeper of a place where the snakes, the council in Aveda can reach. As it's known and explained, as Pnimius HaTorah is Eitz Chayim. That the inner dimension of Torah is a tree of life, Ilana de Chaye, an expression of the Zayat. Was this Hecher von Ilana de Toivera, which is much greater and much higher than Eitz Hadas, the Ilan of Toivera, which is also a certain level of godliness. As it's explained in the Maramakaim that the Rebbe brings in Order 30, that Eitz Hadas also has in it a Gilui Elikos, but on a lower level, which gives place for a Metzias of a Yesh, even to a subtle degree maybe, but there is a Metzias of a Yesh, and therefore this brings the feeling of ego and I. But Eitz HaChayim, the Pnimius HaNeshama, it's the Eibishter. It's godliness. There's nothing other than the Eibishter himself. When that essence of the Neshama is revealed, it takes over the person entirely, so then it's not Shaykh B'chlal, any inyan of Misa in any negative sense. Okay, so till here we're learning about this Hesped of the Arizal and the Ramak, which is of course speaking about a very high level, something that is not possible for any normal individual to relate to. So the Rebbe here will bring this down to us. Since from the time of the Arizal onward, is mitzvah legala zaysa chachma. It's a mitzvah to reveal this wisdom of the secrets of Torah. Is afapi as mi hu zev ve'ezehu asha'arev libay. Who is an individual that has this in his heart that he can come and say that he could be on this level, like the Ramak and the Arizal to sagen as erat shayches to the madreges anal for Ramak and Arizal, that he could be on this level of the Ramak or the Arizal. Von deswegen, but nevertheless, Hayes mot uns erzählt euch wegen dem Minyan. Since this story and this hesped came to us as well, is move on as Efes Katzei v'Shem Etzmenu Shaykh Tziyadin. That somewhat of this, on some level, this point does relate to every single Yid. Similar to what's said in Tanya regarding Moshe Rabbeinu. As Afalpi, as Miuzev Vezu Asharav Liba Legeshes Lahase, who has any possibility to even think of getting close to to come even to 1,000th of the level of love that Moshe Rabbeinu, the faithful shepherd, had. But there is some kind of level that does shine and empowers every single Yid in every single generation. So the same could be said over here regarding this level of the Arizal and the Ramak. And in our case, if we look closer into this, we'll see that Adarabe is Adarabe. Dafko over here is something that's relatable to everybody. The inyan from Mesu Bet Yeshal Nachash, this that the Gemara speaks about, that there were great tzaddikim, and they passed away because of the counsel of the snake, which means, as mahatnit can under chet v'chisarin, that there's no other aveda, no other thing that they were lacking. Nor das was mahatnit gekent arop nemezuam as anachash mikol v'kol, they were perfect in their avedas Hashem. But this ingrained ego that's in a person, that was so ingrained in that they couldn't remove, is shaykh in their darge and nefesh with the zuama can unread. Here we're focusing on what these tzaddikim accomplished perfectly in their life on the level of their neshama, where impurity can affect the person, and yet over here they work to such a level of perfection. So this Gemara and this statement of Et Yishal Nachash is dealing with the more external aspect of the person, the more revealed faculties of a person, whether his seichel, his midas, and so on. Not to come to such a level of perfection like these great tzaddikim over here in this external level of a person's aveda is angemosten nor fayichidis gula. This is something which is measured and only possible for a handful of individuals, very special people. And to say that this kind of aveda dealing with this chitzenius, and here in this chitzenius to be so perfect, to serve the Eibishter, and the only thing that they could have managed to remove is what the Eibishter ingrained in them. This I, this ego, through the decree of Teitzei, that's a very high level. That's not relatable to everybody. But the point that Arizal speaks about, when there's no reason for passing away. So here we're looking at it at the angle from the deeper part of the neshama, where even this ego that is ingrained through the nachash cannot touch, doesn't reach there. Upshite and etzem nishmase. Most definitely, we're speaking about the very essence of the soul of a yid. Is das azay by yid? That essence that could never be touched or affected. This is something which is not yichidis gula. That truth of the essence is by every single yid. But in the pnimius from jeden yid, the innermost essence of every single yid, regardless of who he is, and whatever condition he may be in, is hechem from yed zuah mishalchet, is above and removed of any impurity of an aveda. Bizas can areis begoli mamish, to the point that this can be revealed literally, and this has an impact, and it's applied in an actual halacha. Which halacha is this? V'mizetes, as we see, as Hayid v'zogt begole. Hayid, it says very openly, u'b'chol ha'teikif, and he's saying it very strongly. As mekayim zayin psakdim bezdin v'seistem brengen a-korban. He will not fulfill the psak of a bezdin that's telling him to bring a carbon. Is there bezdin im kaife, so the bezdin can force him to bring his carbon, biz as oimer, roitzani, so, and then the person utters the words and says, yes, I want. Und damals, zogt teires emes, as thus is sein emes Teitzei, and the Teitzei, which is a Teitzei of truth, comes and reveals the true identity of the person and says, this is actually his true will. Even though he may be screaming that it's not my true will and I'm only saying yes, I want because Bezdin is hitting me, he thinks that's the reason he's saying yes. But truthfully, he's expressing his true will, his identity of his essence of his neshama. On yeder bezmanenu, every single yid in our times, was mitzvah legala izaysa chachme, in our times, it's a mitzvah to reveal this wisdom of the pnimius of Teitzei, can, and is a mitzvah das areis brengen begile, can, and therefore is commanded to bring this out, to reveal this. Durch dem was mis megala by sich sassen de neshmasa, by revealing by oneself the inner part of his neshama. Was das wird durch dem limud von sassen de reise, and this is accomplished by learning the secrets of Teitzei. And anayfin as the sasim zolveren galia, and the way to learn the subjects of Chassidus is not just to learn it in a Kabbalistic fashion where it's holy words, but it should come down and be revealed. What does it mean revealed? As yisparnesum minei. Yisparnesum minei, it's like something that you eat, you digest, it becomes part of you. Then fashteitis and chabad shebenefesh. You can understand it fully and comprehend it with chachma, bina, and das, and all levels of intellect in your soul. Bis es nimmt durch den Menschen im Ganzen, to the point that it penetrates the entire being of the person. Und b'shas dem mayonus haneshama, nehmen durch euch dem chutze sheba. So when the wellspring of the neshama of a yid permeates every part of the person, even the external behavior of the person, then he comes to this level, like the Ramak and the Arizal, that an Aveda is out of the question altogether. The actual lesson we should take from this is as follows: As darf sein, yafutza meine secha chutza. We must spread the wellsprings of Chassidus outward. Man darf meifet sein die mayonis von Pnimiyas HaTorah, to spread specifically the wellsprings of the depths of the Pnimiyas HaTorah, as ze soll nareis kommen begiloi bis in chutza zu jeder Yid. It should be revealed and in the lowest place by every single Yid. Bis zum chutza von a Yidin atachten beyoise beruchniis. And to bring this to a Yid that's even in the lowest and furthest out place, in spiritually speaking. Because every single Yid, because of the neshama he has, is verbunden mit Pnimiyas Mayonas HaTorah, is connected to this Pnimiyas of Torah. Und durch den Gufa, was man lernt mit dem Pnimiyas HaTorah, through this itself, by learning with a Yid, the Pnimiyas of Torah, Afal Pias Kedei, lernen mit him, darf man das übersetzen, to learn it with such an individual that's far from this Pnimiyas, you have to translate it from him in an andere Sprache, a different language, und geben him zu verstehen, an asignen, was kann verstehen, b'matzavi b'hoive, and find the right words and style to explain to him on a level that is relatable to him and his level that he's on currently, is das ma'oire sein Pnimiyas haneshama. But the content is the mayonis, it's the wellspring, it's the Pnimiyas of Torah, and therefore this will trigger or it will ignite the spark of his neshama, the pnimi of his neshama, and hyped him oif mimamade matzove, and will lift him up from his place, from his situation. Und durch deran hage, and through this, is memavatel de chatonu. We will get rid of chatonu, which means kol chatei tzadas, the sins that brought about galus, including the root and source of all sins, which is the chatei tzadas. Was das is the einzige sibbe of dem galus mepnei chateinu galino. This is the only reason for galus, because of chateinu. Und es wird bederech memele, bottled, the mesuviv, galinu, and therefore automatically this removes the outcome, which is the galus, and es kommt, die geula, amitis, v'ashleim, durch Mashiach tzidkeinu, u'b'meheira, v'yameinu, mamish.